Greetings all, I'm Gab, and welcome to the first edition of Good or Bad. This is where I review movies by pointing out the good and bad stuff about them. And today I'll be reviewing... Wait, what am I reviewing today? Oh Jesus. Well, let's start from the beginning.
Equestria Girls is a feature-length movie based on the incredibly popular show My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic. And yes, I am a fan of the show myself. The film takes place right after the season 3 finale, right after the show's main character, Twilight Sparkle, has been made a princess. It begins with them arriving at the Crystal Empire, and Twilight's crown gets stolen by the film's villain, Sunset Shimmer, and then taken through a mirror leading to another dimension where all the ponies are human. So it's up to Twilight and Spike to find the crown and get back home before the portal closes.
Yeah, as you can tell, I'm not a big fan of this movie, despite being a fan of the show myself. So to explain why, I'm going to point out all the good and bad stuff about it. So, let's begin.
The animation. I don't think anyone will deny, the animation is pretty good. It's bright and colourful, just like the show, and they give a nice variety of movements from slow and more realistic to more faster and more cartoony and over the top. The voice acting. The voice acting in this film is fantastic. Everyone does an amazing job giving us some really good, solid and likeable performances. I think the ones that shine the most though are Tara Strong as Twilight and Kathy Wesluck as Spike. They really make us feel what they're going through in this other world that's unlike the one they're used to, but all the others do a great job nevertheless. The songs. The songwriters of the show really do know how to give us memorable songs, and here is no exception. These songs are all catchy as hell, they will never leave your head, especially... the humour. The film really takes advantage of the idea of a pony using a human body, and the jokes they do with it hit bullseyes pretty much every time. These moments are mostly really over the top, but it works. The rest of the humour mostly involves either the characters being themselves, except as humans, especially Pinkie Pie, she's hilarious as always, as well as references and especially cameos. The best one's probably this one.
The great and powerful Trixie! Need some peanut butter crackers.
Okay, that was fucking awesome. And now for the bad stuff, and believe me, even though the first few may not seem that bad, almost nitpicky, the real ones are real serious flaws.
The designs. Even though I love the animation, the one downside is that most of the human designs are really lazy. There's just not enough variety. And what I mean by this is that almost all the characters are tall and thin, with the exception of a few. The only thing that changes are the skin colour, the hairstyles and clothing, which isn't really enough to make each of them unique. A really boring villain. Sunset Shimmer is easily the most boring villain we've ever gotten from My Little Pony. In a sense she reminds me of Nightmare Moon because she has a great design, at least the pony form is, and the voice actress does a good job. It's just that everything else is quite badly done. They try to give her a backstory, but it's not one that really makes sense, and we'll be getting to that in a bit. But it doesn't justify the simple fact that she's just a bully that has no motivation to be one. Even her plan is about as cliched as you can get. She just wants to take over the world.
No, I'm not gonna do that joke.
Even though she gets a scary as fuck design towards the end. But even that doesn't really redeem anything. She's just a villain that's sadly really badly written. The setting. Oh god, why the hell is this set in a high school? Now don't get me wrong, I'm not against the idea of a dimension where they're all human. The thing that really bothers me though is that the series takes place in a fantasy world full of myth, creatures and magic. The possibilities you could do with humans in that scenario, and what do? They throw it all aside to use quite possibly one of the most cliched settings and some of the most used cliches in this particular setting. You have the main character who doesn't know how to fit in. You have the main character meeting others that are in a way outcasts. You have the bully with no motivation. You have the point where the character is unpopular. You have her gaining popularity thanks to her friends. You have the lie revealed part of the story. You have her being the hero in the end. God, the list goes on. The plot holes. With this setting, they create so many plot holes. I'm not going to bother listing them all, but I will say the ones that strike me the most. The first is Sunset Shimmer's backstory. She's supposed to be Celestia's previous student and that she left her to pursue her selfish pursuits. That's fine, but how old was she when that happened? Twilight became Celestia's student the day she got her cutie mark, so Sunset Shimmer already left, and in the present course of the film they look about the same age. So really she was a filly when she left. When you think about it, it's Celestia who's terrible, not Sunset Shimmer. And the other thing is, if Celestia is principal of the school and Luna is vice principal, then who the hell's running the country? In Equestria, Celestia, Luna and now Twilight pretty much rule the whole frigging land. That's another reason why the setting should be in a friggin' high school. It just doesn't add up.
Well, in conclusion, I'm really half and half about this film.
Whilst there are good things as far as the animation, voice acting and songs go, it's just that the story really needed improving. I could have accepted the setting of it being in a high school if they just did something more interesting and original with it. It's not terrible, it's mostly just dull and predictable. So I give it a rating of 2.5 out of 5. Not bad, but not good either.
That's all, folks, and see you next time. God damn that song.
You have got to stop talking to yourself.